Got a chance to see Zootopia 2. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zenko, an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about Zootopia 2. I just got back from Los Angeles. I was working on the Christmas parade for the CW, and so I didn't get a chance to really see anything. I was kind of, off the grid for the most part because, I'm working 12-4. Actually, on Friday, I worked Friday through Saturday. I worked 36 hours straight with only like 4 hours of sleep, and then the same thing with Sunday. It was a 15, 16-hour day because we had to have everything off the Hollywood Boulevard, and I had to have a meeting with Disney on Sunday as we were cleaning up because we were cleaning up and they were putting all their stuff out for Avatar, and because they had an Avatar red carpet on that Monday night at the Chinese Theater. So pretty neat. I'll show you guys some of the footage that I took during the parade and during the Avatar thing. I didn't actually see the Avatar red carpet. I only saw them setting up. But supposedly they were going to have like a big A, like a 20-foot tall A on literally fire. I think that Los Angeles has seen enough fires without that. And I asked how he even got that approved, and he said that the fire chief was invited. Whatever, man. But if you don't mind, I'm going to show like a couple minutes. That's all it is, of a couple pieces of footage from Los Angeles while I was there. Okay, we are almost ready to start the parade here on Hollywood Boulevard. You can see in this direction, nothing. In this direction, red carpet through all of Hollywood Boulevard. I'll tilt up a little bit so you can kind of see how far it goes. And I'll do a couple others with the cars. I did a quick car sweep as well, but I'll do what I can, but I'm going to be working, of course. So I'll try to get a couple of more videos in, but happy holidays, everybody. And here come the 501st. And you can see all the stormtroopers all the way down. Kylo Ren. Mandalorian. Vet. KTSO and Chewbacca. Got some Jawas going on.
Next up are the members of the Rebel Legion, the International Star Wars Costume Organization, focusing on good guy costumes.
Very tall Lando.
Roughly 3,500 members worldwide.
Got some
They
Mandalorian.
can often be found embodying the values of heroes they portray.
And of course, you know the motto of the Rebel Legion is, "We are the heroes."
Joining them this year is the costume club that calls themselves the Mandalorian Birds. Dedicated to celebrating the Star Wars universe, especially the Mandalorian characters and the Spartan warrior culture.
May the force be with you all.
And we have the guy, Captain Rex, there from Star Tours. Woo!
Yeah, that was so.
So pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And so yeah, I only had one day off, and that was Thanksgiving. So on the Wednesday night, because everybody booked out early, I decided to just walk to the theater because it was in Burbank. It was only a mile and a half away. And yeah, the Ubers out in LA are crazy, just absolutely nuts. But I was kind of looking forward to this because I don't go see many Disney movies, don't really excite me. But I really liked the first Zootopia. I thought it had a lot of charm. I liked the look and feel. I love the characters. And it was neat to see the fact that everybody came back, even though it's like 9 years later. That's the last film was in like 2016 or something like that, all the way to 2025. That's pretty crazy. And Jennifer Goodwin, she plays the voice very well, but she was like the worst pick in existence for Snow White, for the TV show Once Upon a Time or whatever it was. The worst. I mean, I'm like, everybody says, "Oh, you're so pretty." She was not pretty. She is not pretty. Sorry. But she plays Judy Hopps' voice very well, and Jason Bateman is like the perfect fit for Nick. And we have some people coming in for the first time. So we have Ke Huy Quan, of course, from Indiana Jones and Everything All at Once. Basically reignited his career. And we also have Fortune Feimster. And she plays Nibbles, which is, again, a new character. I like her a lot better as her voice rather than actually playing a character where we can see her. And on top of that, I don't think she was allowed to go off script as much as she does in Fubar. I really, really dislike her character in Fubar. She's just way overbearing. She's just way overbearing for me in Fubar, and I just don't like it. Idris Elba actually has a smaller part in this one because he kind of gets taken off the map pretty quick. I didn't realize that Andy Samberg played one of the Lynxes. I do like the look and feel of the Lynxes, which is basically the villains in this one. Somebody said that that there was more stakes in this one because everybody was trying to kill them. And that's possible, but I really didn't feel that way because, she physically quit, last time. But either way, I thought the plot here was pretty good. And then Danny Trejo comes in. He's got to be like 70-something years old now. Comes in for the voice of Jesus, which is a salamander, I think. I'm not sure what because, of course, the whole deal here is that the reptiles have been pushed out of Zootopia. And then there's like a cover-up and things like that. And Shakira comes back as Gazelle. She gets a little bit more here, where she gets to more interact with the characters than just being the singer. And Patrick Warburton comes in. He, of course, played the Tick in the live-action version. And he plays Mayor Windancer, which is like a horse. And he's like Fabio or something to that effect. Anyway, really good stuff. I thought the character voices really did a good job. And I think that the writing here is decent. Again, I think it's just one tick below the original one. And because I really, really like the original one. But I don't think this is as good as the original. And maybe just because it's not as new. But I thought that the writers and the director kept the chemistry between the characters as the focal point of the film. And that was very, very smart. So this is written and semi-directed or co-directed by Jared Bush. He did, of course, the last Zootopia, as well as Encanto and Moana 2, which I don't think it was really his fault why Moana 2. I mean, obviously it did well financially, but even the kids were coming out saying this makes no sense, because of the fact that they took the TV show and then re-edited it, all the seasons or the whole entire season, into one film. And that's not really his fault because he didn't plan it that way. But he is credited as the Moana 2 writer. And then on top of that, I believe he is slated to write the upcoming Moana live action remake. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, the live action remake. And I think making that is a really, really bad mistake. Anyway, before we keep going, remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can't subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Also, share this video out there. And then on top of that, you can go to Amazon.com and check out some of the stuff that I have written, including my, you just have to type my name in, including my 4-novel quadrilogy sci-fi adventure series, Destiny Aurora. It was made into which is actually right behind me. It was made into a board game, an RPG, a graphic novel. It was also on Audible. And so if you like Star Wars, Star Trek, Guardians of the Galaxy, all that stuff, you're going to like that. I am working on an Audible for my fantasy novel. It's not new, it's about a year old. Fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch. So if you like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Lord of the Rings, we have a whole magic system in there. We got dragon riders and all that stuff. So if you like all that stuff, you'll like that. But I'm probably going to do a Kickstarter for that Audible. And then we have my new comic, Fairy Tales of Terror, which we did pretty well on Kickstarter. I think I'm down to like the last 5 pages that the artists have to do before I can start fulfilling that. I kind of want to fulfill that as quick as possible so I can start on issue 2. But yeah, fun stuff. And you can check out fairytalesofterror.com. We have a Psycho Cinderella and stuff like that. And Tiger Lily is chasing her and Captain Hook around New York City. And we made little figures for it and stuff like that. So if you do pledge, late pledge, you'll get those as well as STLs. All right, so let's jump back into the movie. So it was also directed, or co-directed, which he probably did most of the directing, Byron Howard. He did Tangled. He did the original Zootopia. He did Bolt. He did Encanto. So we have a really, really, really good team of these two guys that really know how to bring these characters to life on the screen, because by Byron Howard, he's got, and both of the guys, they have huge credits behind them that I don't think any really failures behind them. And if anything, Moana 2 is known as a failure for the writing side, for the plot and things to that effect, but it still was financially, did very, very well. I think it made $1 billion. So this is, the story here is about the different tundras, which is very interesting that they even thought about this. The tundras of Zootopia, since they have all these different animals and all these animals have to coexist, they can't all exist in the same environment. So they went out and created these environments, and you think it's the lynxes that did this based on the book that shows them, the invention that creates all these tundras. And we find out later that the lynxes did not actually write that, and there is somebody else that was the architect behind this. And, all of the reptiles have, been exiled out of Zootopia because it's kind of following the footsteps of the first one, because they're all dangerous. So that's the story there. And, Ke Kwan plays the snake that ends up, Gary the Snake, by the way. That's his last name, the Snake. There's a good joke about that as well. But anyway, so it ends up being a personal thing for him. And we also get Judy and Nick, which I thought this was pretty interesting too. They send them to like a couples psychiatric type of thing, like couples therapy, but it's for partners. And I liked how they also did all these different types of cops, like the Zebros. I thought was I thought that was really funny. But they all have different types of partnered cops. I thought that was interesting. But anyway, so they go to this therapy session, and that builds up into the ending, which I thought was very sweet. And we get to see them dressed up. We get to see her in a dress and all this other stuff. So we got to see a little bit of a different take on not just them, in the same clothing and the same situations throughout. We get to change it a little bit. Of course, whenever there's a detective thing, there's always a party. It's kind of a given that there's always a party. But I thought that there was a piece in the middle that did drag for me a little bit, where I did get a little bored, but then it picked back up. So I think it could have been crushed a little bit as far as time is concerned. I think there was a good 5 or 10 minutes in there that it kind of lost me, and then it picked it back up again. So that little piece in there, not that I didn't hear anybody else complain about that, so maybe it was just me, but I think it could have been tightened just a bit. I did like seeing that other tundra of the reptiles. So, again, it kept it kind of fresh by not just doing the same thing over again, by not just seeing the one thing. And I do like the fact that Nick's whole being is about protecting her, and she doesn't really recognize that he does this for her. And, it's not, I think later on, and I like too how they brought back the pen. I'm just a dumb bunny. I liked how that kind of mixed into things. I liked how they brought the baby back in from the first one, not real baby, his partner baby, and they brought back Flash, the sloth. I liked how they really tried to tie it into the first one. I thought a lot of it really worked. Again, I just think it could have been tightened a little bit. But overall, I like the plot. I like the new villains. I like the twist. Not that it was a huge twist or anything like that, but at least they tried to throw something in there that looked like a twist. And, I'm sure the kids didn't see that coming. But, and I think a lot of the kids enjoyed it. Because I didn't really hear any peeps or anything like that. Kids were running around or anything else in my theater. And the theater was full. So, and as you know, it did like $500 million in like its opening weekend, mostly because of China, which is going to prove to be a problem financially, because if the majority of their money comes in from China, they only get 25% of that money. So let's say they saw $250 million. Let's just say $200 million, just to make the numbers easy. And that's coming in from China. Well, they're as opposed to the United States and a lot of other countries, they see 50%. But in China, they only see a quarter of that, which is like $50 million. So it's going to look huge, but what they're coming home with is only this, So I'm sure it'll still do well. And really, I think they're just looking for the movie to make $1 billion so they can tout the fact that it's $1 billion. Because also they're not going to make much off of Avatar, because they inherited Cameron's contract from Fox, and they're only there from distribution. And I actually confirmed that with Disney when I was talking to the guys over in Hollywood. And it's true. They only have a distribution deal. That's it. So they're looking for that $1 billion so that they can tout it on their calls with their investors and things like that. I think that's the deal. I think this movie was still $200 million, so it still needs to make like $500 million to break even, which I'm sure it will do. I'm sure $500-600 million. I'm sure it's going to do easy. So, and of course they have all the merchandising as well, because I see all the merchandising popping up already. And movies that sell toys. I'm all for it. I am all for it. All right, well, that's it for me. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can subscribe, please do. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Share this video out there. Remember to check out my stuff on Amazon. And then on top of that, check out Fairy Tales of Terror, because I will be retiring a bunch of covers and things to that effect once we close up Late Pledge and start to fulfill. All right, thanks a lot, guys. You guys have a great week and happy holidays.